Shri Radha Govinda Madhav ki Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev ki jai, Shri Bahaladev ki jai, Shri Gonitai ki jai, Shri Guru Parampara ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki, Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami ki, Shri Ramachandra Kaviraja ki, Sadhu Satsanga ki jai. Hare Krishna. Swagatam Suswagatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agyanti Mirandasya Gyananjana Shadakaya Shakshu Militam Yena Tashmae Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sam Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchane Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshvari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Panamami Hari Priye Van Shakalpa Talubasha Kripa Sindhubhyai Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Yadvaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna. So we will start with Ramachandra Kaviraj because he is less known than Srila Gopal Bhatt Goswami. We song every day. We sing that song. Where does he appear in our songs?
Evening one.
Ramachandra Sangha Mage Narottam Dasa. This is this Ramachandra. Okay? So there was one devotee, his name was Damodar Kaviraj.
Some translation maybe, someone needs translation.
Okay, in French, okay, so sure. Okay, so should I?
How do you prefer? What do you prefer?
Someone could translate at the back? Huh? Be nice. Yeah, please. Otherwise, it's cut it down by 2. Okay, so Damodar Kaviraj, he was a poet and a great debater. He liked to debate. He's a very learned person. He was a Shakta. What is a Shakta?
Worshipper of...
They worship the Shaktis. Shakti, Shaktimatayo Abhida. There's no difference between Lord Krishna, the Shaktiman and the Shaktis, yes. But at the same time, there's difference. Achintya Beda Beda, so it's always the same. But this particular person, Damodar Kaviraj, he was a Bhavani devotee, Durga. Very fond of Durga and very staunch worshipper of Bhavani. And one day he defeated a great scholar. Actually, debating can backfire. Sometimes you debate amongst devotees or even with outsiders. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained in his Bhajan Rahasya, or Shri Krishna Samhita actually, he explained that it can backfire. We have to be careful with debating. It can become demonic even. And you have to be very careful how you handle debates. Anyway, this fellow, Damodar Kaviraj, he defeated a great scholar, and the scholar was so much angry at him that he cursed him. He cursed him. You will never have a son in this life. And Damodar Kaviraja was quite young and about to go ahead in his life, and he was recently married, so it was a big curse for him, no son. So he pleaded to the Pandit and he served him thoroughly. And finally, the Pandit cooled off and he told him, thank you, Prabhu. He told him, I cannot backtrack my curse, but you will have a great daughter. You have a great daughter, very sadhvik and very Krishna conscious. And she will have 2 sons. Those 2 sons will be outstanding, extremely sadhvik and equipoised, and very much God conscious, those 2 sons. In due course of time, he got a daughter whose name was Sunanda, great daughter. And she married a devotee, a contemporary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His name was Chiranjeev Prabhu. And this Chiranjeev Prabhu was a personal friend of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. See? So with him, they had 2 sons. The eldest is today's disappearance, Ramachandra Kaviraj. So Ramachandra Kaviraj, he was the eldest, and he was basically a Vishnu Parikar. Vishnu Parikar means is a companion of the Lord. Yagir Sankirtan Prayer Yajanti Hi Sumeda Saha. Sangu Pangastra Pashanam. Krishna Vanam Nisha Krishnam Sangu Pangastra Pashanam. When the Lord comes, prior to his coming, during his coming, and after his coming, we find Sangu Pangastra Pashanam. They are personal astra. What's the meaning of astra? Weapons. So we are used in Kali Yuga, but different types of weapons. When we hear weapons, we hear. But in terms of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna Varan Visha Krishna, he always repeats Krishna, Krishna. He is himself Krishna, but he repeats always Krishna. And he is not Asitam Buddha. Asitam Buddha, that's the color of Lord Krishna, is very dark. But Mahaprabhu is Hemagora, is golden. So he comes, his weapons means his companions, his parshadas. The weapons of Mahaprabhu are his companions. This is the weapon. Much more powerful than a rifle. It's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita that any devotee of Mahaprabhu could liberate the universe in a flick of an eye. This is the power of a devotee from the spiritual world. So Ramachandra Kaviraj is from that caliber. And it's very interesting how it's always interesting how the devotees, even though they are Vishnu Parikar, how do they blend in the Sankirtan movement? Apparently it's not always obvious, like in the case of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, for instance. It started late. So here, very interesting also, actually this Ramachandra, in the beginning was called Ramachandra. He had a very handsome person, and what happened, his father died early, Chiranjeev Prabhu. Chiranjeev was definitely a pure devotee of the Lord. He was himself, as I told you, an associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But the grandfather, remember, Damodar Kaviraj was a worshipper of Bhavani, of Durga. So when the father of Ramachandra left the world, the grandfather took them into his custody. He took the 2 boys. And obviously, since he was himself worshipping Bhavani, Durga, the boy got somewhat, brought in within the fold of this type of worship, Shaktas. So they ended up worshipping Durga also. So this boy, very handsome, Ramachandra, he got married. And on the day of his wedding, Ratnamala, his wife, was his brand new wife. On the day of his wedding, the procession, very lavish, his great pomp, having a marriage procession, he happened to walk under the balcony of Srinivasacharya. In those days, we're talking about 16th century India. The place is Jajigram. I don't know if you know about Bengal. Jajigram, Shrikand, this type of area. I don't know if you've been there. There was a great devotee already on earth at that time, Srinivasacharya. Who is Srinivasacharya? Which song did he compose? Nana Shastra Vicharane Kanipuno Sadharma Samstapako. He composed that song, yeah? So he himself is also a Vishnu Parikar. So what happened is, he was having a katha, a small katha with his disciples on the balcony, and Ramachandra was going under the balcony in the street, and big procession, palanquin and all. And they glanced upon each other very quickly, a quick glance. But something happened in that glance. And what happened is, they didn't speak. He was getting married on his way to the house. But one way or the other, immediately Srinivasacharya got struck by not only by the beauty of this young man, he was totally handsome. That reminded him of Lord Krishna actually. His complexion, his gaze, his demeanor. So immediately he inquired, who is that young man? Who is he? So by then, Ramachandra had grown up as a young man, and he was a physician, very great poet, physician also. So his disciples told him he's a great soul. He lives nearby, and he's a physician, he's a poet. And in Ramachandra's mind, when he saw the gaze, the glance of Srinivasacharya, even though he carried on with his procession, he's getting married that day, he has to get into it. So he went all the way to the house, and the bridegroom and beautiful girl, and she's well received in the house, and basically his whole day was spent in festivities. Just imagine when you get married. It's a big festivity, Vivaha Yagya. But in his mind, Ramachandra could not forget that glance. Who is that personality? So at night, very late at night, he just left. And he went to see Srinivasacharya. And they met, and immediately Ramachandra paid his obeisances. Immediately Srinivasacharya picked him up and they embraced right on the spot. And actually Srinivasacharya told him, we have been friends for lifetimes. See, the great soul, they are Trikalagya, they can understand, they have access to all the phases of time, past, present and future. Srinivasacharya told him, I've been blessed to recently receive the friendship of Narottam Das Thakur, and now Krishna is sending me another eternal friend in your form, in your personality. So Ramachandra, immediately he stayed with him. Can you imagine the day of his marriage? He left. So it's quite a scene. And they totally, they were actually eternal associates of the Lord, meeting again on this planet Earth in 16th century India. So, in the next auspicious day, Srinivasa Acharya initiated this Ramachandra into the Radha Krishna Gopal mantra. If you have Gayatri, we sing. This is one of the Gayatri mantra, Radha Krishna Gopal mantra. It's a Bij mantra. So, and then they carried on their lives, serving. Ramachandra was very much dutiful, extremely impeccable in his character, brilliant personality. And after some time, he went back to, because he's married, he has to come back at least once in a while to see his wife. So he went back to the house. And of course, as I told you, the grandfather was Damodar Kaviraja, himself was a Bhavani worshipper. So when he came back in as a Vaishnav, Tilak and Jap, it was a scene because it's not the same type of environment when you worship Shaktas, obviously. So the people were shocked. And they told him, how come did you forget the worship of Lord Shiva? What happened to you? So immediately Ramachandra explained our pure Siddhanta. What is the pure Siddhanta when it comes to understanding the proper position of demigods and Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu? What is our Siddhanta when it comes to that tattva? Yes. Shiva Virinchinutam. Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, they are themselves servants of Lord Krishna. So Ramachandra Kaviraj explained that point. Lord Shiva is expansion of Sankarshan. Lord Brahman is Shaktavesh, avatar from Lord Vishnu. So it is only fair, my dear friends, that Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam. It's only fair that Krishna worship should be performed. Otherwise, Gita says, what does Gita says in terms of demigod worship? It's avidi purvaka. Avidi means against the rule. And then also Rita Gyan. Rita Gyan means it's for those who are a meager intelligence. Rita Gyan. Alpo medasa. So, but he was very soft in his approach and such a nice demeanor. His words are exquisite, so soft. And he added actually that the worship of Lord Shiva is meant actually oftentimes for low-grade persons like Ravan, Banasur, Kumbhakarna. So, very softly he presented the Siddhant in such a way that those worshippers of the Shaktas actually, the worshippers of Bhavani, they became totally soothed in their inner beings. And they understood. Not only they were amazed by his statements, because he had mastered by then the total Vaishnav Siddhant. So what happened is, after that, Srinivasa Acharya left for Vrindavan. Srinivasa Acharya is famous for being part of the famous trio. Who is that trio? Srinivasa Acharya, Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamananda Pandit. And of the three, Srinivasa Acharya was the head. So by then, he left, the Guru left for Vrindavan. So back in Bengal, Shrikant, Jajigram, all the disciples were totally despondent. And Ramachandra had just been initiated, so he was a newcomer. So they told him, please go to Vrindavan, try to fetch him back. Tell him to come back here, we need him so much. So he went to Vrindavan all the way. It's quite far. We are in 16th century. So you have to walk. Bengal to Vrindavan, it's approximately 1,500 kilometers. Quite far. So immediately Ramachandra, this Shrikant place is replete with devotees. In Shrikant you find Raghunandan Thakur, you find Narari Sarkar, Mukunda Das. All these are totally extremely close associates of Mahaprabhu. They are themselves Vishnu Parikar also. So he asked their permission, can I go to Vrindavan to see my Guru? Tentatively try to bring him back also. So he departed for Vrindavan through Gaya, I don't know if you know India, Gaya, Kasi, Prayag, then Mathura. It's a straight line, horizontal line. Took darshan of Adikeshav Mandir, and if you go to Mathura, you will find the Mandir Adikeshav. It's a very beautiful Mandir. And he met finally with his guru and Jiva Goswami. Jiva Goswami in those days was the leader of India when it comes to Gaudiya Vaishnavism. He and who else? Janavama. Janavama was the beloved wife of Srinityananda Prabhu. Those two were basically heading the whole Gaudiya Math in India. Jiva Goswami. Jiva Goswami is considered, according to Srila Prabhupada, the greatest philosopher of mankind, past, present, and future. This is the ultimate authority for all times to come in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. So Jiva Goswami, he inquired, who is that bright young man? And he asked Srinivasa Acharya, this is my guru, this is my disciple. He came. So everyone welcomed him. By then, lots of devotees had gone already. We are a little after Mahaprabhu, actually. So he took darshan. In Vrindavan, you find about 5,000 temples. But amongst the 5,000 is called Saptadivala. There's 7 main temples. You cannot avoid those temples. You have to go. Shri Govind, Madan Mohan, Gopinath. It's called Saptadivala. So he took darshan of those main temples. Then he met whoever was left. Gopal Bhatta was there. Today is Avirbhav of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Lokanath Goswami. He is the guru of Narottam Das Thakur. Bhugarbha Goswami. Bhugarbha is also as senior as Lokanath Goswami. He offered his obeisances to all these great Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's companions. And they could see this boy has so much poetic ability. So they gave him the title Kaviraja. That's why we say, Ramachandra Sangamage Narottam Das is a Kaviraja. Kaviraja is a title. So finally, he didn't stay long in Vrindavan. His gurus requested him, you please go back to Godadesh. It's called, Godadesh means Bengal. Goda means, actually we are Gaudiya. What's the meaning of Gaudiya? Gaudiya Vaishnava. And this is our line. What's the meaning of Goda? Yeah, Goda means Bengal, basically. Yeah? Goda Mandala Prabhu, there's one devotee. Goda means Bengal. So we are called Gaudiya because we are followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who himself is none other than Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nai Anya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is combined form of Radha Krishna. So when we say Gaudiya, we are actually meaning worshippers of Srimati Radharani. Technically speaking, we are not, devotees of Krishna are called Kaishnas. Vaishnav means devotees of Vishnu, Kaishnas are devotees of Krishna, and Gaudiyas are worshippers of Srimati Radharani. So we worship Srimati Radharani in the form of Mahaprabhu. You follow? One time, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, he was doing parikrama of Radhakund, and coming the other way, there was a group of Tushti Marg Vaishnav. They're from Gujarat. Pushti Marg, yeah. They were doing parikrama, but counterclockwise of Radhakund. So then, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, he asked his disciples, why are they doing counterclockwise? Do you have any idea? Because he explained, Pushti Marg, coming from the line of Balabhacharya, they worship Krishna, they accept Srimati Radharani because Lord Krishna loves her. But we accept Krishna because Srimati Radharani loves him. This is a subtlety. You follow? So we go through Srimati Radharani, they go through Krishna. That is why we're called Gaudiya. So finally, they very softly, his peers, his seniors, request Ramachandra Kaviraja, you please go back to Godadesh. And on the way, he visited all these great places, Shrikant, Jajigram, Kandaha. Kandaha is the place of Nityananda Prabhu. Kalna, and all these great places you can visit. It's wonderful. So what happened in those days, remember, it's all intertwined, all these leelas. Narottam Das Thakur had his presence. Narottam Das Thakur was extremely famous in those days. But his caste, his varna was... What is the caste of Narottam Das Thakur, do you know? Kayasta. Thank you, Prabhu. So Kayasta means, it's not a pure caste. You know, in those days, 16th century, medieval India, everything is rigid. Yeah, the smartas are very concerned. Are you a Brahmin? Who are you? Tell me you're a Gotra. So Narottam Das Thakur was Kayasta. It's like a mixed caste. It's like a offshoot of Kshatriya, basically. So because of that, and Narottam Das Thakur is such a great soul, he was initiating even Brahmins. So, a lot of smarta in the area were quite, I would say, they were, that ruffled their grain. They were not happy with that. So they just conjured up a conspiracy against Narottam Das Thakur, to defame him. This is always, human nature is like that. When someone is going up, you don't like it. If you're very advanced, you like it. Another devotee is advancing, you're very happy. But if you're not well situated, if someone else is advancing quicker than you, then you may become envious. So this is the case, especially with Smarta. Smarta destroyed India. Not only destroyed India, it destroyed the universe. There's 3 plights that destroy your religion. What are the 3 plights that destroy religion, that destroy Smarta, that destroy Sanatan Dharma? There's 3 plights. Yeah, Shaktas. Shaktas is one of them. Shivat is within Shakta category. Shakta means those who think that the Shaktis are as good as Shaktiman. You follow? That's Shaktas. They worship Bhavani. There's 33 million of demigods, so you have the choice. They can tend to think that Shaktis are as good as Shaktiman, Lord Krishna. No, Shakti means energies. Shaktimam means the possessor of energy. This is Krishna. Shaktimam, he possesses the energy. Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta Kshetragakya Tatapara Avidya Kamasam Genya Tritiya Shakti Lishyate. Vishnu Puran explained that Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta is superior. Kshetragakya Tatapara, even the Jiva is superior also, is Parashakti. But they tend to equate the two, the Shaktis and the Shaktimam. That's Pakandi, that's Pashandi. That's very offensive. Doesn't mean we should disrespect the demigods. No, we should. They are called Vibhutimat Sattva. They're very great agents of the administration of the Lord. We should not disrespect. But in no way should we put them on the same footing as Lord Krishna. So anyway, they plotted a conspiracy against Narottam Das Thakur. So what they did, there was one king, Raja Nishinga, and Shirupanarayan. He was a great Pandit. So the Smartas, they told them, those two, you please go and confront Narottam Das Thakur. You have to expose him. He's not supposed to initiate Brahmins. It's improper. So Ramachandra Kaviraja heard of that conspiracy, and one of his friends, great soul, he was a disciple of Narottam Das Thakur, his name Ganganarayan Chakravarti. They also plotted something. You know what they did? They pretended they were shopkeepers. You know, in those days, even now in India, you find betel, the betel nuts, pan. You know, we don't take those, but Indians do take betel nut, pan, some kind of leaves that you chew and then you spit. You have seen in India, all their teeth are totally red because they keep on chewing pan and betel nut. So one of them pretended, I'm a shopkeeper, and the other, you know, his name is Ganganarayan Chakravarti. He also had his own shop, and he was selling wares, you know, because when you travel in India, especially in those days, you need utensils, it's called wares, cooking wares to cook, you know. So what they do, still in India today, you buy clay pots to cook. Once you finish cooking, you throw the pot. You travel, again, you buy clay pots and you cook. This is the way to go. You don't keep your utensils, you know. So, and they set up, and sure enough, in due course of time, that party came, you know, the party of Raj Nishinga, and the other one is Rupanarayan. And of course, they have to camp, they have to settle for the night, and they send someone to buy some wares, cooking wares. And those two, actually, these guys, they were pure devotees, these guys in shopkeepers, when they spoke to the customers, they spoke in pure Sanskrit, classical Sanskrit. So already, you know, those men were quite astonished. Oof. And then, one way or the other, they had some debates, you know. And those customers got flatly defeated in terms of Siddhant. They were no match. Ramachandra Kaviraja in disguise and the other one, you know, Ganganarayan. They totally defeated the two customers. They went back piteously to their camp, you know, with what kind of region is this? What kind of place is this? Even the shopkeepers speak pure Sanskrit here, you know. So finally the two big boys came, Raj Nishinga and the other one, Rupnarayan. They had a debate, got totally defeated as well. And can you please decline your identity? Well, we are just small-time disciples of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. So then they figured out, wow, already we got defeated by the small-time disciples. Better we don't go to meet Narottama Das Thakur. So this is what happened actually. And of course, that night, because themselves they were Shaktas, great worshippers of the Shaktis, that night Durga Devi herself appeared in the mind of that king, Rajnishingo, and told him, "You're such a fool. You have committed a great offense to this Srila Narottama Das Thakur. It's a Maha Vaishnava Parada. Maha. So you please go and apologize." So he and his friend, Rupanarayan, they went and finally they took initiation from Narottama Das Thakur. Narottama Das Thakur is... Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that the writings of Narottama Das Thakur, his songs, today we're saying a song, this is Shruti. Can you imagine? It's considered Shruti, just like Upanishad, you read Rig Ved, you know, this is, are you going to go behind the Upanishad and correct? So the writings of Narottama Das Thakur is Shruti. So it's totally impeccable. You cannot touch it. So this is what happened here. So this Ramachandra Kaviraj himself in turn became a big guru also. He delivered many sinful atheists. He was there in the Keturi festival. Keturi festival was Santosh Datta. Santosh Datta was the cousin of Narottama Das Thakur. He was a millionaire. He was the king himself. And what happened in Keturi, it was the first Guru Purnima. We celebrate Guru Purnima in ISKCON, 500 something. But that took place, let's say 25 years after Mahaprabhu left. And what happened is, it was such a grand occasion. Santosh Datta, just imagine the scene, he built a castle just for the festival. Say we are building a little pond, how do you call it, mandapa, He built a castle. He built kitchens, lodging facilities. And then, actually at the last minute, they tried to get hold of Srinivasa Acharya, please help us, we want to put up a big festival. So Srinivasa Acharya, he mentioned, well, it's kind of a short notice, So that night he had a dream of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu told him, you go ahead. Go ahead with the festival. And they sent out invitations throughout India. So it's mentioned, the description of this Guru Purnima festival, they installed 6 sets of deities. Srinivasa Acharya installed 6 sets of deities. Who was there? Janavama. Janavama is Shakti Tattva. She's coming also straight from the spiritual world. She's the consort of Nityananda Prabhu. Basically, she's Varuni, Shakti Varuni. So, and on the way, as she was moving towards Keturi, she would go to different cities and grab all the Vaishnavas. So by the time all the parties would be arriving in Keturi, be thousands, lakhs of devotees. And what happened during that festival, just imagine. It was a major, lavish, big-size festival. And at one point, Narottama Das Thakur, he sang. Narottama Das Thakur is such a great musician, he invented a type of raga. He invented a type of Gaudiya Vaishnav meter. He is himself a maestro in terms of musician. He invented a type of kirtan, actually. So, to make a long story short, at one point, There was an assembly hall, thousands of devotees are singing. Narottam Thakur is coming in, he takes over the singing, starts singing. The kirtan came to such a big crescendo. Panchatattva appeared. Can you imagine? It was after, it was 30 years after Mahaprabhu, and all the Panchatattva had gone. They appeared. So Prakot Lila. And the Aprakot, unmanifested, Prakot Lila. They manifested themselves.
Mais ils avaient déjà quitté leur corps.
Ils avaient quitté leur corps, non. Ils avaient déjà disparu, on va dire. Ils étaient déjà partis. Hein. Ils sont revenus. Hein, ils sont revenus dû à l'amour du chant de Narottam Das Thakur. So this is Narottam Das Thakur. Ramachandra Kaviraja ki? So let's discuss about Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Now it's going to take another hour. Anyway, I'll go for 10 minutes. Don't worry, you will have prasad. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami, we're going further back. So remember, when did Mahaprabhu take sannyas? Which year? 1510. Where did he take sannyas? Where? Katwa. So very shortly, actually, as we know, he wanted to go to Vrindavan. He got diverted to Shantipur by Nityananda Prabhu. Then his mother had told him prior to that, please don't settle yourself in Vrindavan, it's too far. You settle in Puri, it's closer. I will get to see you more often. So then actually very shortly after sannyas, he went to Puri, but he didn't stay long. What was his intention when he went to Puri that time? Very quickly he carried on to South India. Right? So 1511, can you imagine, 1 year after taking sannyas, he's already practically at the door of Srirangam. So there's a river, Kaveri River, it's one of the holy rivers in India. There's an island there, and Srirangam is there. Srirangam. Ranganath, let's have a few words on Srirangam. You can complete because you're from there. So, can you imagine Srirangam, Sriranganath, deity Sriranganath. In the days at the dawn of creation, Lord Brahma asked Lord Narayan, I would like to get a deity of yourself, because there was no deity. That was prior to deity worship even. Please, can I have a deity of yourself? He asked Lord Narayan. So Lord Narayan gave him the whole, what do you call it? The whole city, basically. The whole city. If you have been to Srirangam, there's 7 doors. It's a wonderful city. I've never seen a city like this. There's 7 doors. As you move closer to it's called inner sanctum in Latin, and this is the core of the temple. But prior to that, you have to get closer. 7 doors, 7 gates. The whole city is a temple. With the different corporations, the Vaishyas, the Brahmanas are closer to the center, obviously. And then finally you arrive in the inner sanctum. Whew, this deity, it's like, it's Mahavishnu totally lying down with Anantashesh. It's granite, it's made of granite.
The temple, you mean?
No, the deity is granite stone.
Not handmade.
Sorry?
The deity is not handmade.
It's all self-manifested. The whole thing is self-manifested. And they says you have to go there. I mean, when I was there, I remember the she-elephant would, they just do the chama. The she-elephant is a devotee. They won't take male elephant because they're too wild. The she-elephant, she will do the chama at the right time. And she knows the puja. I mean, this is Vaikunt. You are in Vaikunt. Huh? You go to Sri Rangam, you're not on this planet Earth. Huh? It is the biggest temple in the universe. It is the oldest temple in the universe, and it is the biggest temple on earth today. Sri Ranganath. So Mahaprabhu was on the way. And we have to understand what is the foremost feature of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's got so many, we know, but the foremost, beauty. Very good. We have to understand Ajanu Lambito Bujo Kanakava Dato Sankirtana Kapitaro Kamalaya Taksho Vishvambara Vijabaro Yugadama Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karuna Avataro. And the eyes of Mahaprabhu, elongated eyes, all the way to the ears practically. He's got hands reaching to the calves. 32 features of Mahapurush. They are there in Mahaprabhu. So when people would see Mahaprabhu, they would faint. See? They would faint on the spot. You cannot keep your composure. You just faint. Thousands and thousands, even, doesn't matter who you are. You are a papi, you are a great soul. They got relieved. Practically everyone got relieved from the blazing fire of material existence as he was going down towards South India. It's mentioned here that when he arrived there, the scene it's mentioned is described here. Because Sri Rangam is so big, there's always thousands and thousands of pilgrims, day and night visiting. So when he arrived, the temple hall resounded with hundreds and thousands of Brahmins. Only the Brahmins are chanting Vedic hymns day and night. The atmosphere is it's totally transcendental. They chant very out loud Vedic hymns. They have kirtan, bhajan, it's Vaikuntha. So when he entered, Mahaprabhu is entering, Gaurasundar, he singing with his sweet voice is compared to 10 million Gandharvas. 10 million Gandharvas. Everyone was dumbstruck, filled with wonder, who is this man? Who is this person? And everyone could understand he's not human. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always engrossed into Mahabhav. Mahabhav is not possible for human. So the Astasadvika Bhav, body is erupting with goosebumps, hair on end. His body becomes dislocated. Mahaprabhu is not, it's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. Body is dislocated. So, because sometimes his body would become so supple, becomes elongated. Sometimes he would jump in the air so high and it's like a thunderous noise. Everyone is thinking he must have killed himself. Because the sound is so powerful, thunderous. So he's stealing the mind of everyone. The pujaris, no one could fathom who is this personality. Is he a demigod? So finally, there's one, the head pujari, Venkat Bhatta. I'll stop here now. I'm just whetting your appetite. Venkat Bhatta was the head pujari. Immediately after his transport of his feat of ecstasy, he cooled down back to his external consciousness. He parted the crowd and introduced himself. I'm the head pujari. Will you please grace my home? It was the beginning of Chaturmasya. So please grace my home. I host you. Please come. Finally, actually, Mahaprabhu himself embraced Venkat Bhatta. Venkat Bhatta also is another associate of the Lord. And then, for another episode, I will tell you, reminder. Jai Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami ki.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Do you have any questions?
Who is Gopal Bhatt?
Yeah, Gopal Bhatta. Bah oui. Mais je ne veux pas vous mettre en retard. Hein.
One of the 6 Goswamis.
Yes, one of the. Shri Jeev Gopala Bhatta Dasana Gunat.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Jai.